I thought I'd do a short video on the importance of teaching our horse stationary flexions. Now, the list is endless in terms of the reasons why they're useful for the horse, but they are also vital for the education of the rider's hands. Now, this is an area where I believe isn't given enough thought in our earlier years when we first learn to ride. I'm not too sure what it's like in the rest of the world, but I know in the UK that you are basically taught to hold the reins. And then after that, it's very much about resistance, more, keeping the horse round. We're not allowed to raise the hands. It's about keeping the hands very low and together at all costs. So learning how to speak a language, really, it's just about keeping the hands low and pulling. There's not really a language about it. So the flexions are vital for the rider to learn exactly how to use the hands. It's also very useful to get the horse able to bend equally to the left and the right. Now, Tiago's mane falls to the right, so this means that these muscles on this side have always been naturally longer. So he will always find right bend his easier bend. Coming to the left, where the muscles on the right side of his neck, he was born with slightly shorter, so we refer to that as the hollow side. The left bend, for that reason, will be his difficult one. So what I'll demonstrate now are our first three flexions, which is about establishing the horse to become high and light, pronounced bend to the left, and a pronounced bend to the right. Now, he's quite experienced with the flexions, so I'll be able to chain these together as I'm speaking. Obviously, when horses start learning this, we isolate them into their individual flexions. It takes a few sessions before we can start chaining them together. So the first one is when we stand in front of the horse. Now, let's put that whip on the floor. What I like to do when I first start these flexions with a new horse is just this, is take hold of the buckle of the rein, lightly slip the tip of the thumb in the bit ring, and I like to just see what happens. Your horse will tell you what they need, and if nothing happens, like Tiago just waiting for the next signal, this is fine. But a lot of the time, horses will bear a lot of weight down into the corridor between your hands. They'll come above the hands. Horses that have had previous bad training will have a lot to say when we take hold of the reins this way, because it's something new to them, and all of a sudden they feel like they've got a voice. So it's worthwhile just to stand in front of them and lightly take hold of the rings of the bit and just see what happens. Now, are you resting a hind leg? Let's just stand a bit square. Let's stand on that hind leg. Good boy. Good boy. Right, so from here, we can raise the neck. Any action to the hands is very clearly towards the ears. I don't want to come this way and down on the tongue, and I don't want to go this way and up towards the roof of the mouth. It's definitely the action is following the cheek pieces to the ears. Now, what we're looking for here is a lively licking and chewing of the bit. Come on, that's a good boy. There we go. That's a good boy. What we will do then is quietly raise the bit to the corners of the horse's mouth, which will encourage the horse to raise their neck. If we have a nice licking and chewing that you can see here, this is perfect. Now, reminding the horse with both hands up towards the ears, just a little bit before I go into a pronounced bend to the left. And the idea here is Tiago stays off the hands. A bird scare has just gone off, so he's listening for that. Good boy, you're a little bit tense. That's a good lad. So pronounced bend to the left. Now, when we do these flexions stood in front, it's always about the horse learning to be light in a higher posture. We don't complicate things by ever allowing the horse to stretch down when we're in this position. I will talk about neck extension and how we encourage them to stretch in the next clips. But this is all this is about is the horse learning to have a pronounced bend both to the left and the right and staying off the hands. Good boy. It's not going to go off again. You're all right. Good boy. Good. Okay, I'm back to center. Good boy. So that's the first 3 flexions. As I said, when we stood in front of the horse, this is always about the horse learning how to raise the neck, not lean on the hands, become flexible to the left and the right. But we have something in the skill called action-reaction, which is to encourage the horse to extend the neck by tightening the reins. So if you imagine in a ridden session and we give long reins, it's not about hoping for the best that the horse will stretch. We don't want loose reins when we are expecting the horse to stretch. So we have something called action-reaction. So how we introduce this to the horse is by teaching them that when we apply a constant contact, i.e. the action of our hands tightening the reins, creates the reaction in the horse to extend their neck. Okay, so again, we always introduce this on the ground. You know, it's really important that the horse has the opportunity to really think about this. Now, of course, Tiago is experienced with this, so we'll get a reaction really quite quickly. What can happen when we first introduce this is rather than seek the answer going out, not down, out, rather than seeking the answer that way, what they'll do is they'll try and find an answer going this way. Now, what we do in that example is we follow with the hands. We don't increase the contact. We just keep the contact the same. You're all right. Bird scarers keep going off. I think I've already said that. So he's really on a little bit high alert today. You're okay. Okay, so how we introduce it. Again, we take the loop of the rein up in one hand, a couple of fingers in the bit ring. Initially, this rein comes over behind the pole, and I'm going to hold the rein quite close to the brow band there. Now, it's different. The action-reaction in terms of what Tiago is feeling is different than when we have a lively, bouncy action that asks them to raise their neck. Don't anticipate. Okay. But when we slide our hands together, so he feels the bit coming to the corners of the mouth, he knows that it's a good idea to stretch downwards. Good boy. So again, if we bring him up into the higher frame, and then what I'm doing is I'm coming down with this hand and up with that one. So it's that action. You know, this is the action, that's the reaction. Okay? So I apply the action to create the reaction. Good boy. He could just have his nose a little bit more forward there. That's it. Good lad. Good boy. Excellent. So again, we can go back to our first flexion. Bouncy and lively, a little bit lively. There we go. So he comes back up into the first flexion. And again, now we apply the action to create the reaction of neck extension. So what we can do once the horse is understanding how to raise their neck, they can bend equally to the left and the right. What we can do then is we can start to combine these flexions together. So first of all, the flexion to the right. If I give a longer rein and relax my left arm, Tiago should understand how. If he doesn't and he's not taking, I'll come back to the action. to create the reaction of neck extension. I'm going to do that again. So again, high and light, keeping this position as we go round into the pronounced bend. I'll give the longer rein. And yes, Tiago should extend the neck, but he's not extending the neck properly today. I need that nose a little bit forward. That's it. Good boy. Good boy. Don't lean. Okay, so I'm going to bring him back straight and bring him back to the higher position. Good boy. Okay. So the same from this direction. We ask Tiago to raise the neck. We go into a pronounced bend to the left. And I relax the arms to neck extension. Good. Again, we can bring him back to center. And now ask for the bend this way. And I'll relax that rein. You can see it's going loose and it's his job to tighten to neck extension. Good. Again, coming back to center. And we'll do it once more the other way. So the first flexion, high, light and straight. We ask for the pronounced bend to the right. I will give the rein longer. So he tightens this rein that's in my right arm, right hand, to the neck extension. Back to center. And now ask him to bend to the left this way, staying high off the left rein. That's a good boy. Bending left. And now I will give the right rein. If he allows this, can you see how the right rein's loopy now? This is his difficult way, don't forget. I'll say, look, don't allow the loop to come into the rein. Always tighten the rein. So we'll go back to center. We'll ask the left bend. Again, he tends to lean on this left bend. So I'm acting up towards the ears to explain that it's not a prop, it's a request. It's not a prop. Now I will give the right rein longer. And this time, he has tightened it to neck extension.